So hey, what's up? I'm Josh, Dogmatic, Matson, as it were. That's what people call me. I don't know, I'm a live artist. I go out to shows and I set up an easel in the corner of, you know, like Stone Pony or the Saint up in Asbury, or I don't know, what is the big fun one, the City Winery up in New York City for New Year's. That was pretty fantastic, and I get to paint. I say I get to paint because, you know, I think everyone can paint, but for some reason I seem to have found a way to convince people to let me sit in their bar and throw paint around. I do it very carefully. I tell them I'm a professional and I cover the area nicely. You know, like some of the best experiences. I've always been a spontaneous artist. I always like seeing what the paint does and playing with it. And I go to shows sometimes that you'll have triggers, especially like clever band names, you know, not to drop any names, but these guys' elevator art, you just have this picture of art in an elevator, and you know, and you have it in your head, and you're just trying to figure out, well, how does that fit? What you know, turtle soup, fantastic concept. There's so many things you can do with the turtle soup, and you know, some of my favorite bands to paint for just have names and you know, references in their songs that make you think. So it really works well with what I decided to do and where I found a lot of joy. You know, I have a mild case of ADD at least, and I love the music, but it's hard for me to just sit there and it was either dance or try and have a conversation over the music, and I loved it, but I don't know. It's what I live for now. I say I can't go a week without catching a show, whether I paint or not. Not necessarily the trip experience or anything like that, but you can. Like you close your eyes to beautiful melodies, and you can just visualize the washes and the warmth, and you can see the dark, the gritty stuff that comes in. You know, the fuzz of distortion and the little sparkles in the back of the head. Like you don't need anything to take you there but the experience of it. And you just, I don't know, I tried to define it to somebody as you just throw yourself back and let go into the music, and it'll wash over you, and you focus it, and you let it slide right out onto the canvas. Everyone has their artistic outlet. Everyone wants to paint, and everyone wants to sing, and everyone wants to, you know, dance. Just enjoy life, follow your bliss. It's absolutely vital. But when you go out and you just walk up to someone and say, "Hey, let me do this," you're putting yourself out there, and you're not gonna know where it's gonna go. But if you got the heart and you want it, no one really wants to hold you back. 2-3 nights a week, I get to go paint. It's my privilege, and I've got a whole bunch of bands that are like, "Hey man, come do this," and I love it. It's my inspiration. The learning curve happened when I set out to paint during a set, and you realize you only have about an hour, or if you're doing like 3 or 4 bands, you know, a couple of hours, you know, to put together, depending on how the evening's set up, and to come up with something. And the first few times, it was just pure abstract. Like there was no form, no shape to it. It was what I consider now the background layers that I like to try and get done in the first 2 songs of the band. At this point, like I feel like I'm falling behind if I don't have the thing like mostly covered with paint by the time we get 15 minutes into the set. Because I've learned, you know, I've learned little, you know, tricks. You know, you see me with t-shirts and plastic wrap, and I take CDs that people give me, magazines. I use the idiom a lot. God bless the idiom. If the poetry is unreadable, at least it's great for applying paint to canvas. In art school, God bless, or not art, what I call art school. Wall has a fantastic program for the art. I learned more in that drawing class than I did in my college drawing class, and we got to like the color wheel studies and doing all that, and it's just like you really you just don't know how to tone it down. Like you have no concept of clashing colors. Like those colors can't possibly work together. I'm like, they can, I just haven't figured it out yet. And so I've always been on a drive. I like, I like bright. I really do. It's like, it's what's there on the other side of your eyelids when you finally break through into dreams. You just get these washes of color coming out, and it's got to be bright to shine through, your eyelids. I guess the primary process, they just told me to go ahead and do what I got out of it. Gave me all the lyrics. I read through them for a couple days, reading them over just to get the feel of it. And, I had a lot to think about. Like there's some really interesting compulsive lines in there that get your head going, and like you can see in it's kind of loose, but the whole line of I guess cherry blossoms, and then there's one down sitting in the middle of the oasis, and that's the one, chopping down the family trees out of the lesbian father, the last track is. And making a break from what we think is, the concept of the family unit and that society has for so long dictated that this is how things are, and that we're the evidence of all this supposed evolution, and we just can't figure out how to define ourselves even, and they spend God knows millions of dollars debating in Congress over studies, this and that, to decide what makes a family, and it's love. It comes down to love, and that's really I think what is the joy that is in, sort of hard to find in some moments, but the joy that is in the whole Tent City album. Your body and a feeling. I do. I tend to lean towards brighter colors, and I still see. I saw a lot of hope even in the darkest of the songs to be found. That it's not. It's pointing out the darkness more than embracing it. I felt in the lyrics I don't, it's especially true. It's hard to find in a lot of modern music a really positive expression of negative thoughts. And I mean, it's very common, like in reggae. I've heard some of the darkest stories to the most upbeat, jammingest, just happiest songs. Everybody's just singing along. Police and thieves in the streets. Yeah, that's the scene you want. Yeah, let's celebrate all the police and thieves in the street. I mean, yeah, sure. It's that was their life. That was what they were experiencing, and they celebrated it. It's hey, Tent City, here I come. You're moving in with all your friends, you're gonna camp out, you're gonna have nothing, but you're gonna have each other. You're gonna be together, you're gonna keep the family, whatever shape your tree may take, together, and to continue all the metaphors, if you do it right, you're not gonna wind up a toy. You're not gonna be just another cog spinning around in the big machine that makes things go. You're gonna be a moment, a life, a love, you know, a true experience, and not just something that gets shoveled off to the side because they don't want to deal with you. You're gonna shine.